Prompt engineering. What is it? Are you doing it or are you simply using AI in its simplest format?
When we talk about AI, we're not talking about your telephone or your cell phone or whatever gadget or tool. We're talking about using ChatGPT or Gemini or Perplexity to help you do something. And let me define prompt engineering. First of all, just the word prompt engineering will stop people cold. Like, I don't want to do that. What do you mean engineering? Do I need a degree to do this? No. Anytime you're in any of the platforms, you are asking it to do something. So, in its simplest form, it's asking ChatGPT to do a task and to give you an output. And maybe it's as simply as writing an email and you don't want to send the email because you just wrote it because somebody sent you this email and they were angry and you felt like it was angry, so you want to respond really fast. You might throw it into ChatGPT and say, hey, I got this email, this is what I wrote, it sounds like I'm angry, can you fix it where it sounds not so antagonistic or angry? So it's the ability to take something, give it some context, give it a task so that it will give you a desired outcome. And sometimes that seems simple, but and there are a lot of ways you can do this, because I think what people do is they're kind of using it from a surface level. They're not really using it to help them get better at doing something. And before we even get into the weeds, I wouldn't even mind showing everybody what my idea of prompt engineering is. And it's based on what OpenAI did. And I mean, literally what platform that OpenAI created. So let me show you what I came up with. This is my idea. Can you see this? Just trying to be sure, because you never know what you're showing. So prompt engineering, it's like crafting a formula. You can give it a persona, like I'm a real estate agent, or I'm a teacher, or I'm an entrepreneur. Tell it like something, you give it context, you give it a task. That's probably it. Everything else is extra. Like, you can upload something and say, hey, give me this output like this. You can give it a format, like I want it to be in paragraphs, I want it to be in bullet form, I want it to be bold, or just give me 3 sentences. Like, that's the format. And then you can give it a tone. I need you to be collegiate. I need you to be fun. I need you to be kind of neutral or formal. And those are just some things you can ask it, but you don't have to do all of it. And I think we get caught up in, I showed you all of this and now it's too much. And sometimes when we get started, well, first of all, you got to get started somewhere. But I would recommend that you at least give it a task. Like, this is what you want, because when you give it a task, you're asking it to either answer a question, generate ideas, or possibly give you feedback. So, what do you think about that? Like, how are you using it?
So I'm going to go with the surface level first. I log into ChatGPT every single day, like I log into my email as a real estate professional, like I log into the multiple listing service, my client relationship management tool. And at a surface level, just like you said, I use it for email. Like, if I'm not sure how to respond, or if I go live on Instagram every single Friday and I will write down everything I'm going to talk about. And when I say write, sometimes I speak it to Evernote, sometimes I type it in Evernote, and I will take my write up of what I'm going to talk about, and I'll put it into ChatGPT and I'll say, organize this, do not change the context, but just simply edit it for grammar so I can go live and it feels a little more organized. To me, I felt like that was surface level. Now, because I am a real estate agent, I own a brokerage, and I have the opportunity to educate real estate agents. What I like to do is I like to be a little more specific. So I'm like you, Mina. When I heard the word prompt engineering, I thought, and maybe for you because you're in the space of using technology and you're working with educators consistently, for you it might not have felt hard, but I was like, prompt engineer, this sounds like something I'm never ever 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 going to do. So
I
I was like,
understand.
that feels like a lot, but I was already doing it. So in my space, I would consider how I use prompt engineering is, I somewhere I have a checklist of things I do. I like to create a blog post on LinkedIn every week based on the cities that I work in. And so, my idea of prompt engineering is I take the data from the marketplaces that I work in and I'm very specific to get the output that I want. To give you an example of what this might look like is I might, because you said you had the role. Let me go back to what you said. You had the
Uh,
context, you had the task, the format, um, defining what you want, and then the rules and boundaries and examples. And my idea of a role would be is you are this. Am I right? Am I getting
yes.
so for me it was telling ChatGPT who it should act as. And then the example would be is you are a real estate agent that is an expert in data for a specific city. That's who you are. And then the goal is I want the ChatGPT to be very clear on the output. For example, I want ChatGPT to compare and contrast the data for the city of West Chicago, Illinois, based on median sales price for the current month compared to 5 years ago, compared to 10 years ago, including list price versus sold price, what percent, including how many homes are on the market now compared to those time frames. And then I'm asking for an output using that data in either a blog post or a letter to a potential seller or social media video script. Maybe it's going to be that I'm also going to create social media post. And then I gave it the details, and then I might want to say that my audience is going to be potential sellers, and then the format would be how do I want it broken down. So that again was the letter, that was the blog post or social media content.
Well, okay. So, and that's for a lot of people, that's a lot of information. Like, what does that even look like? And before we even, I kind of want to show a little bit of what prompt engineering looks like and kind of define the word prompt engineering, but I'm going to get a little help. And I'm going to do this pretty quickly because this is ChatGPT, the platform. And I'm just going to ask it a question. Will you define prompt engineering, but come up with two different words so that I can explain it to the public? In other words, engineering is something we create. And so it wrote exactly what I said, and I didn't have to type it, which, speech to text is great. And didn't worry about my punctuation or anything or how I articulated it. So it said, got it. Prompt design. Like you're a designer. So if you are creating something, prompt crafting. So now it's telling you that this is the definition. Prompt design is the practice of shaping clear, purposeful instructions that guide AI tools to generate useful and accurate responses. You can take that one and keep it. And then prompt crafting. Prompt crafting is the art of creating and refining inputs so that AI systems respond in ways that match your needs. Now, let me just say it like this. Can you create two words that if I was a real estate agent, I'm not, but if I was a real estate agent, what would prompt engineering sound like? Like you already just said prompt design, you already said prompt crafting. What would that look like? I hit enter twice.
And while it's loading, what was interesting is because you're in education, it gave you it had an ask. Would you also like me to build this for K through 12?
Well, the other thing, so that's a hidden thing. So I have told ChatGPT that ask me a question to prompt me to move forward so that I don't get stuck. And I've told it to do this every time. And it's learned that you can put that in your settings, like always ask me a question so that I get better and I don't get stuck in what I'm doing, which that's a whole nother video. But look, prompt blueprint. Why real estate friendly? Just like a home starts with a blueprint, and AI response starts with the blueprint of your words. I mean,
I'm going to
you can
need you to
have
just
that.
send me the whole chat cuz I
Right,
feel
which I
like
can. Um, Keep going.
go ahead. I was going to
You should
say
you should comment. You should comment.
in my mind, This is in our space, in any space, because I like at the bottom it says, do you want me to also give a few other industry analogies? You are someone that teaches at the collegiate level. You train and educate educators. You've also taught at the middle school level because you're a science teacher. There's so many ways that you can educate just about any industry, or anyone could use this to break it down for their industry. And in my mind, real estate people that get into real estate, especially new real estate agents, they get in not realizing that this real estate is not a job. It's a career, but you're an entrepreneur and you have to get up every single day to make a paycheck. People are not going to tell you what to do. Now, if you show up to training, they give you the strategy. You have to build out what the job looks like. So, looking at this makes it puts it in such a simplified manner that I think anybody could get what engineering is. But my guess is you
Well,
could take this step a step further because you just started the process of.
well, I'll add that me training or teaching, providing like a professional course or continuing ed on this, or even when you do it, it's not like you can just go and do this. Now, some people can run with this and get creative, but getting from A to Z, that middle part is the part that gets people stuck, and they think they can get to Z very quickly. Like I am guilty of that. Like if I have to um move, for example, let's say you're moving from one house to the other. Those of you that are either buying or selling a home, you know what that feels like. I see it all at once and I just want to sit down and please somebody else do this. Where there are some people that can take a chunk and like I'm just going to work on this today. And they don't just try to think that they have to do it all at once. That is what I am able to do when it comes to teaching and learning with ChatGPT. Like this, I can handle. But when it comes to like big picture stuff like the moving, like there's always something we're really good at. And you and I are good at helping people understand prompt engineering because it can feel overwhelming. Everybody feels that way in something, but prompt engineering, it is somewhat of a, you do have to learn it. It's not just something that can always come naturally to someone. It's like if you take a new course, you have to learn to get better. Like we practice doesn't make perfect. Get that out of your brain. Practice makes more proficient, and getting in here and practicing. I will caution people that you as the human need to vet things that come out. Like if I ask ChatGPT to go find me research, collegiate level research, sometimes we call it peer reviewed articles, like 10 people read the article and agreed with it, so then it was published. I'm going to go and find the article before I quote the article and make sure and skim it and look through it. And I might even read it verbatim, even if I upload it into ChatGPT, unless it's not like my own work. I will upload it into ChatGPT and say, hey, tell me about this article, because then I can use it. Like I did that in professional development. Like, is this even worth using? But if I'm using it in, say, a book or a blog, I'm probably going to read it verbatim, because you as the human, you can disseminate whether or not it's good information. ChatGPT will send you off on a tangent and make you believe, those of you that aren't in real estate and don't have the license to be a real estate agent, they will make you, ChatGPT will allow you to believe that you are good at selling your own home. And then you realize you broke some law, whatever HUD is, and all those things. Like you have to get the human aspect. That's why we have real estate agents, because they're the expert. That's why we send students to school, because teachers know how to work with a group of children. And even some teachers, for example, can't even help their own children. So they're experts in the area. And this is something that we decided we wanted to become experts in, and how to prompt engineer. And you know, that last question, I almost want to say, yes, do this. Yes, do this. Let's just see what happens, like just for fun. Look, I mean, just as a silent moment, prompt framework, prompt layout, prompt recipe, prompt seasoning, cooking, teaching, prompt lesson, prompt guide, prompt palette, prompt composition. I mean, the kind of the sky's the limit. And, you know, yes, I'll share this with you, but I think we get stuck in not wanting to start. And we're that avenue of getting started.
I like if I were to go back to your conversation around it, even when you are in ChatGPT or whatever AI platform you decide to use, you do need to slow down and you do need to verify your sources. And it is still okay to go and do your own research. I know, I mean, I watch and I learn and I watch how this is being taught. It is very important for us to slow down and actually read. And I'm not here to tell you I'm going to have to dump it in another app to so it can read it to me in the car.
That's okay
But
too.
right. And it
AI.
also takes me back to, and I would caution people on definitely being someone that is learning, even if you're using AI. And here's the spoiler alert: in The Mandalorian, there was in I think it was season 3, chapter 22, called "Guns for Hire." Maybe I googled it. Where
Because I was like,
right, right, you're like, "Am I that good?" Yes.
you should have
Where
ran with
the
it.
robots were
ChatGPT.
running the city and the Mandalorian was brought in to figure out why the robots were broken. The city, everyone that was living, the human factor was everyone was just living, and they were like, we can't, how do we do this? The robots are broken. No one was trying to figure out how to just do it themselves. They just wanted the robots fixed. So I would caution everyone, and I would say, you still want to show up to learn. You want to understand how to use AI, whether you're using it at surface level or if you're using it for prompt engineering. You need to understand what you're reading. So the fact that you talked about from A to Z and what happens in the middle, anyone could call me up any day and say, Carrie, can you coach me through this? Can you help me with this? Because I need to do this. And I'll give you a good example of that, Mina. I wrote a course for Columbia University on digital marketing, and I was unable to teach it. And so they asked me if someone else could teach it for me. I'm like, sure, no problem. I got a phone call from the other professor that said, hey, Carrie, I'm teaching your course. Can you sit down with me and coach me through how to teach your course? What? If you don't understand digital marketing, if you don't understand what I do, I'm a practitioner. Because the first thing I did was I went online and Googled the person. Now, I do believe that people are good at teaching. That I understand. There are some people that are great instructors. But if you have no knowledge of it, I can't stop what I'm doing to teach you how to teach what I wrote if you can't just step in. There are a few people that I know, if I write it, that can teach my content.
That's
Again, that A to Z,
ChatGPT.
you still got to show up to learn.
Right. Well, and you even ChatGPT does not know who you are. ChatGPT is not walking with you down the street. Robots on Mandalorian, and even if it was, we have emotions and rationality. We can be rational and emotional, irrational for that matter. ChatGPT, in hindsight, or actually is, I should say, ChatGPT was designed to separate that. However, it will placate you, meaning it will, oh my gosh, that was a great idea. Knowing good and well your friend would have told you that was dumb. That, or that's the difference between the human factor and ChatGPT. So, this is it's there to help and guide you, but you have to remember, just like your cell phone that gets you trapped in the, those of you that wonder why your finger hurts because you're on the scroll at, you're wondering why it's 2 a.m. ChatGPT can do that to you as well. So if it you have to remember that it's not human. Humans designed it, but it's all of their background. So their training. There are groups of people that train and say, no, not this, but this. Yes, this, not this. Maybe both of these, however, this. Like, it's prompt, it's in the background. It's called large language model for a reason. It's got a large amount of language and it's modeled based on other people's stuff. So their stuff is telling you an output, and it's thinking about, well, what would this look like if I gave an output? It's just thinking faster for us. Your brain could do all of this. I'm confident that chefs and teachers could have come up with prompt lesson. I'm confident that a chef could have come up with prompt recipe. I'm confident that, what was the one that for real estate, prompt blueprint? You probably prompt staging. I'm pretty sure of that, because you're like, stage your house, don't let that stuff in the corner, you better get rid of it. Like, we all, that's those are things that I would focus on. So with that, I mean, what do you
Are
think?
those your takeaways?
Those are my takeaways.
So my takeaways would be Just like I've said before, get into ChatGPT, Canva AI, now Meta AI, Perplexity, Google, Gemini, Microsoft Copilot, and use it at the surface level. And then take a moment, and then you can kind of give it the role. You can say, give it the task, you can give it some more context, and then you can kind of play with it. Don't feel like you have to be an expert, because if you get into these AI tools and you start using it consistently, you will become more of an expert simply by using it. So I'm Carrie Little. I thank you for watching. I own a brokerage, Caremark Realty Group in Illinois and Florida. Feel free to follow me over on Instagram and TikTok, and don't forget to subscribe to my our YouTube channel. And I can be found at simply by looking up Carrie Joe Little.
You can find that prompt engineering, that one pager in the description. I'll send it to Carrie, and you can follow me anywhere at Mina J. Blazy. However, on YouTube, it's MJ Blazy.